Good morning. It's Saturday, the 9th of May, and this is going to be my outlook for the week ahead. Okay, so this week's mostly been about altcoins, right? But I think it's important that we look at BTC, even though we're just sort of consolidating at the moment and compressing a bit. It's not very interesting to trade right now, but obviously it's going to be important going forward in terms of overall market direction. So from the 20th to until the last week's open, essentially, we formed 2 weeks of overlapping value. Last week, we essentially broke out of that, retested and traded up into 2024's value area high. And there was also a naked daily value area low here from, I guess it's this day here, from, late January, early February. So we just tagged that almost to the tick, ran into some liquidations and retraced, right? So we failed so far to find exceptions in this 8-week composite. And we're just consolidating here in this previous void, essentially. So filling out this sort of low volume node again, which Bitcoin has a pretty good habit of doing. So, provided we stay above this 2 weeks of value, then there's no reason to be bearish. I think, we're still seeing an interested spot bid following this up. So that's not what you tend to see at market tops, right? Typically the spot bid will just dry up eventually. But we're seeing, an interested spot bid here with pretty good booking balance next to price. So I think that's quite encouraging. We have pretty heavy supply between, 83 and 85K now. But it's not the kind of, really heavy imbalance which is necessarily going to mark a top, in my opinion. So there's still a good chance that we continue to trade up, perhaps as high as the 365 day and around 92, 93K if we can keep going. But I think, from a trading perspective, it's just taking it leg by leg. I mean, there was a good long here. I think I took the long around here and I just ended up taking profit almost at that Pico top last week. I can't actually remember. But there was a good long there, but just holding, throughout these drawdowns is not really the way to go. So, they're sort of medium time frame trades for me. I'm not really interested in scalping this market, particularly while alts are running. And, swinging this while you're getting these big drawdowns is just too painful for me. Like, fine if you're holding spot. I mean, I did buy some spot down here, not much. But yeah, for me, it's more about the trading the medium time frame, intra week, just capturing the moves and trying to time, the tops and bottoms. So in terms of a setup now, let's quickly have a look at VWAP as well. We'll just see if we can find some possible ideas, ways in to fresh longs, because I am still looking for longs, unless we lose that 78.9 level. Let's just give this a refresh. Doesn't seem to be working. Wow, it is slow today. Trading view okay? Now we're back. I think it's my internet. All right, so, what do we have? Well, we're rotational on the week and the developing month, imbalanced up on the quarter. Quarterly value is held pretty well as support. So maybe another dip into quarterly value, retesting this kind of area around that bullish invalidation would be, a decent way in. Just purely based on, quarterly value here looks like a decent place to start. So obviously, the uptrend has really been supported by quarterly value. We also had this deviation inside testing previous quarter's VWAP. That was a 75K long. We have these previous highs. So clearly price finding resistance around this level, around 78, 79K, and quarterly value high just sitting here as well. So let's come and zoom into this area. Right, the Coinbase chart's a bit weird because obviously they went offline on Friday morning for 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. so for 6 hours we didn't get any price, right? So there was a wick lower during this time on Binance, the market overall, and we just tested into this naked daily value level. in any case, I think the clearest long I can see now would be, should we fail to find acceptance within this 2-week composite, so another retest of the 2-week composite around quarterly value high, something like this. Perhaps even testing this POC again, monthly value low also lining up here. There's pretty good confidence around this area. Should we get another dip early next week, this is probably going to be where I would look to bid. If we don't get that and we just trade up, which is possible, then I think you can look to either play on a reclaim of this 2.5 day, or should we break above it? At this point, we're finding acceptance above this level, this kind of ledge, right? You see it on the TPO. There's going to be lots of TPOs all lining up at that level. We've got this high volume node here as well. So above there, game on. And then, I'd probably potentially just look to target up to this area, at least taking some off here and then reassessing. Going forward thereafter, as I say, I think we just need to hold this area, this 8-week composite low as support to continue to trade up, potentially, as I say, towards that 92, 93k area, which is not beyond the realms of possibility. So can we, for example, trade up to that 365-day VWAP, aligning with this previous composite high? Well, if we get above, it's kind of the if this then that, right? If we can get above this level, then sure, that's definitely within reach, and you would have to expect it at that point. So it's still quite two-sided, but overall trend is still up, and there's no bearish shift unless we lose, as I say, that 78, 79k area, and it re-accept within this 2-week composite, in which case it's over and it's time to swing short everything. But I don't think we're quite there yet. I know alts pumping, can sometimes feel a bit precarious, but it's just the natural order of things, right? BTC trading up, consolidating. We just see money go down the risk curve towards alts, which has been great to trade this week. I'm actually, really happy with how we traded alts. Ondo was the big performer this week, I think, and Ton. Didn't actually catch Ton, but Ondo, Sol, Sui, Fartcoin, Nia, Virtual caught some or all of those moves. So pretty good. This is a good, So pretty straightforward breakout a couple of weeks ago. I was fully out at this point on this wick, and then we just did the same again, another 30% straight into this previous composite. So definitely looks pretty done here for now. Probably gonna settle down and find some balance somewhere. So I think Ondo's pretty cooked for now. Let's just quickly talk about the majors rather than going over loads of alts. So Solana. We traded into this value low, a lot of compression here, rolling VWAPs catching up with price and then just getting compressed within them. This is a good sign. So I took a long here. Was it last week or this week? God, it was only this week. Into here, then we spent some time balancing at value highs, so just compression at resistance, buy the value lows of that compression, trade up to yearly VWAP. So somewhere in this area, 96 to 100 maybe previous quarter VWAP is probably all I would look for now. And then we'll have to reassess. For example, do we come back and retest this value again? Possibly. We've got this obviously big buying imbalance here, which we probably will come back and retest at some point, and it's probably going to be a better area to buy going forward. So in terms of playing this on perps, keeping the rotations kind of medium time frame again. If you're long from down here, fine, but for me, just looking to play the rotations is the way. So I'd probably anticipate somewhere in this imbalance to be a good bid when we eventually come back into that area. But for now, looking for at least 96 and possibly previous quarters VWAP from this leg. ETH is less interesting, almost reluctant to even bother looking at it, but just range bound, right? So 3 weeks here now. Obviously led initially, the ETH BTC was strong during March, I think. I won't even bother to open it, but quantum narrative and whatever was floating around. ETH BTC rallied, and since BTC started to leg up, it's underperformed. Sol was very weak and is now strong. It's just, you're just going to see these periods of relative strength and weakness in the majors. So what to say about ETH? Not much really. It's just range bound. So just very neutral, right? It's going to be 4 weeks now. Nothing really happening, right? We're just rotational within this value. The only thing I would say at the moment is we're unable to get above this POC, and the 30-day here is confident with that level. So don't really want to be long into this resistance right now. But can't really be bearish ETH just yet either. So unless it sort of really starts to break down, re-accepts within this value, then it's going to just chop probably until BTC tops out. So I don't really want to be shorting ETH while BTC is rallying personally. There were obviously good shorts on it over the past few weeks, but for the most part, just not very interesting right now. So we'll move on. Doge, big sell-off. I mean, big sell-off from this 116. I was targeting these areas. We've front run it so far. Still found support previous quarters VWAP, and then reclaimed this value here. So I'm long Doge from down here again. Filled out this imbalance so far. Could come and feasibly retest as low as this again. Hopefully not, but we'll see. I mean, it still looks fine. It's just a bit slow now, and maybe just moving into more of a sort of range bound environment, having broken out of the multi-month range, just shifting up. Is it going to just continue ranging here? It looks that way, doesn't it? So kind of neutral, but overall bullish on Doge. We've done Solana, we've done Ondo. I mean, we could take a look at Hype. Sui, let's take a look. Sui's also been, rallied quite strongly today and overnight. Similar to Solana, right? Very similar. Traded up, kind of flagged rather than printed clear balance. Just front ran the area I really wanted to bid. And I ended up taking another long here around previous month's value high on that reclaim. So just deviated below the previous month's value high and then traded up into the 4-day. So still it's good. I think, imbalance up in the week and month. May just need a bit of consolidation here again. But overall, I think it can trade higher. Potentially up to the, ultimately developing year previous quarter value high if this rally continues market wide. So, 140, 150 area is well within the realms of a reasonable target given the duration of this consolidation. So you've seen multiple coins printing very similar bottoming structures to this, to me suggestive of a macro bottom after 3 months of balance. So looking to trade that up 50% is not an unreasonable thing to do in my opinion. Perfectly reasonable upside target, provided we can stay above value. There is obviously a possibility that we're just at range highs and we just bleed back into value, and that would probably mean that we ultimately end up trading lower again, at least taking out this low. But for now, it looks fine. So no concerns at the moment, although I've taken out most of my long on that rejection. Ton, huge rally, didn't catch much of it at all. Bleeding out below value now, probably not surprising. I think we came into a relatively significant area of resistance. Let's see. So we just came into this previous value low, kind of from this consolidation, right? If I just draw a profile, just to illustrate that, I mean, just an approximation there. Hopefully it won't take too long to draw. But that value low around 285-ish was clearly significant resistance. So, don't want to be long there. Needs to find some balance again before I'm interested in it again, really. Looked like it was, but we're bleeding below that now. So, big imbalance to fill. Maybe it just bleeds for a bit, corrects. But trading above the developing year's value high, previous year's value low is a good thing. So, I think there's definitely going to be a potential of bidding this somewhere, below perhaps 220 over the next week or so. We'll see how it develops. Wouldn't want to be too predictive or prescriptive on it right now. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, it's the weekend, right? So not really too interested in anything right now. Virtual was a great move. I took profit on this way too soon, just broke out. I think I took profit on this initial rejection and never got back in, unfortunately, and is now balancing here. So, just play this range for the time being. We've got a few days of balance. One of the cleaner setups here. So, and very nice distribution. Does this end up being the top, or do we just chop here and then go higher? Don't know, right? For now, it's just a range. So until this breaks, there's no direction to this market. You just have to continue to trade the range. And let's just take a look at lit, actually, because this is kind of starting to look a bit more interesting. We come to, let's go to the 6 hour. Just take that off. Okay, so lit. Yeah, to me, looks like it's trying to put in some kind of high time frame bottom. So it's kind of a higher low here, right? Really just rounding out quite nicely and trying to reclaim listing value from the all-time high, which it hasn't managed to do so far. So yeah, it's not looking too bad. I was looking at it earlier in the week and my initial thought was, well, okay, it could trade up here, but until we see a bit of compression between these rolling VWAPs, it's probably not likely to really start to move. So that is what I would like to see coming into this week. It's just a bit more chop. I mean, look, you've got a good level here to work with, right? There's 2-day composite low. It's clearly been well respected here. So if we reclaim that, it's probably game on. Nice and balanced here. You could even look to buy here. Certainly from a spot perspective, I think that's fine. Just buying coins low and selling them high is pretty easy. Why not do that and take advantage of it while you can? But I think, a bit of compression between these rolling VWAPs is likely over the next few days, and then can trade up. So this, they don't have to get very tight. That this is almost enough. But I think, once we flip 110, it's probably game on for lit, and then we can target up towards this high volume node, potentially around a yearly VWAP. So yeah, looks really good. I think it's going to be a good trade. Just may need a little bit more time to compress here, but not a bad area to buy. I mean, anywhere here was good. Even now, it's fine. So yeah, I like the setup. It looks good. And we'll leave it there for today. I don't want to go over loads of alts, but yeah, overall, I think there's nothing to be concerned about yet. Obviously, lots of coins have rallied. Expect them to consolidate. Don't chase green candles. And yeah, that's it. I'll just leave it there for today. So catch you next time. Cheers.